Before any plant sprouted from the earth, before the rain touched the ground and man tilled the field, the Lord was already preparing something magnificent. From the dust of the earth, shaped with divine care, man was formed, not like the animals, but as a living image of the Creator. And into his nostrils, God breathed the breath of life. It wasn't just life, it was soul, it was identity, it was purpose. God planted a garden in Eden in the east, a lush paradise where every tree was pleasing to the sight and good for food. In the center of this paradise, two trees stood out, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The man was placed there, not by chance, but with a mission, to cultivate and guard that sacred place. And with the gift of freedom came responsibility. The Lord spoke clearly, "You are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for on the day you eat of it, you will surely die." It wasn't a cold prohibition. It was a protective boundary, a reminder that man was not God. Even in the beauty and fullness of Eden, something was incomplete. God, who sees all, said, "It is not good for the man to be alone." A deep silence hovered over Adam, even with the rivers flowing, birds singing, and animals walking around him. He named every creature, but none was like him. None was a part of him. In the heart of paradise, a void still needed to be filled. In the stillness of the evening, when the golden sky touched the trees of Eden, God caused a deep sleep to fall upon the man. Adam, now lying peacefully, breathed in rest, and there, in the mystery of silence, God acted. Not with earth this time, but with something more intimate, a rib, a fragment of the very man, not to be above or below him, but by his side, a part of him, one with him. With delicacy and power, the Lord formed the woman, beautiful, alive, complete, a reflection of God's glory, completing what had been incomplete. When Adam saw her for the first time, his heart recognized her. "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh." Not just words. It was a cry of the soul, humanity's first poem. God blessed them and united them, man and woman. Two halves, now one flesh, and between them there was no shame, no guilt, no masks. Naked, but covered in glory. Free, yet anchored in the Creator's love. The garden was more alive with them. Creation was now complete. In the freshness of the mornings and the stillness of the nights, God walked with them, spoke with them. They knew him, not just as Creator, but as Father. And everything was perfect. Harmony, freedom, innocence. But at the heart of the garden, the tree of knowledge still stood. Untouched, subtle, silent, and something else moved in the shadows, not yet seen. In the garden where peace reigned, something moved with cunning. The serpent, the most shrewd of all creatures, watched. It came not with force, but with words, not with violence, but with doubt. And it approached the woman with a question that would echo through generations. Did God really say, "You must not eat from any tree in the garden"? And doubt found its opening. Eve answered, explaining the divine command. "We may eat the fruit from the trees in the garden, but from the tree that is in the middle of it, God said, 'You shall not eat it, nor touch it, or you will die.'" The serpent smiled, hiding poison in its voice. "You will not surely die. God knows that when you eat it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." The temptation wasn't just the fruit, It was the desire to be more, to know more, to cross the limit that God had established. Eve looked at the tree. The fruit was beautiful, desirable, and then she reached out. She ate and gave it to Adam, who was with her. He ate too. In an instant, everything changed. Their eyes were open, but not to what they expected. Innocence fell like a torn veil. They saw themselves naked, and shame was born. They ran, sewed fig leaves to cover themselves. They tried to hide what they had never felt before, guilt. And for the first time, they hid from God. In the cool of the afternoon, the sound of the Lord's steps echoed through the garden. "Adam, where are you?" It wasn't divine ignorance, but a cry full of sorrow, a father's call. And the man replied, trembling, "I heard your voice, and I was afraid." Purity had been broken. Eden would never be the same. The silence that followed the disobedience was heavy. When God confronted Adam, he didn't take responsibility. He pointed to Eve. "The woman you gave me?" Eve, in turn, pointed to the serpent. Trust had been broken. Love now shared space with fear. Every word from God in that moment carried pain, but also justice. To the serpent, God declared a curse. It would crawl forever and be hated by all creatures. But within the sentence came the first promise. A seed would come from the woman, a descendant, and he would crush the serpent's head, though he would be wounded in the heel. It was light in the midst of darkness, the first prophecy of the Redeemer. To the woman, God said her pains would be multiplied, especially in childbirth. And to the man, the ground would now produce thorns. Work would be hard, sweat would be required, and eventually both would return to the dust. Death had entered the world. But even in the fall, there was grace. God, with his own hands, made garments of skins to clothe them, not leaves. Something more lasting. Someone, an innocent animal, had to die to cover them. It was the first glimpse of sacrifice, of blood as covering, of the redemption to come. Then God expelled them from Eden, and at the gate of paradise, he placed cherubim and a flaming sword that turned every way to guard the path to the tree of life. Man now walked outside the garden, outside full presence, but not outside the love of God. The story of humanity had begun, not in perfection, but with the promise of restoration. In the next episode, we'll follow Adam and Eve outside Eden. Who were their children? How did sin spread through the world? And why did one brother take the life of another? The story of Cain and Abel will reveal how the human heart responded when far from the presence of God. Don't miss it.